With this presentation I'll give you an overview of the price list. So if we go to the price list and price list here, as opposed to reports but price list, you'll see the price list here. Now before I go any further, let me explain these coloured headings. Each of these coloured headings up here have what we call a secondary index on them, which means you can reorder the data in this table in accordance with the index. So you'll see here that the order is in the ID at the moment, so this comes before that one, which comes before that, which comes before that, because the number is lesser. But if I want to get them in order of alphabetical order on the category or the group, for example, here, if I double click on here and then go Control Home, you'll see now that order has changed. Exactly the same number of records, but now they're in the order of the group ID. So if we go down page by page, you see they're in alphabetical order by the group. You'll notice here how all these ones in their alphabetical order now. So that's how you can change that order. Now if I want them in the order of, you'll see I've got we'll say cost here, for example. If I'm on this particular record and I double click on the heading of category, now you'll see that puts all the items with a category of cost in order. So you'll find that that's a very easy way of sorting your data. If you want to have a look at everything that's in the base stage, double click, you'll see that's all in order there. If I want to go back to the original order, I'll just double click over here. So just remember those. If I want to see in the order of code, you see 1.53 comes after in this example here, 4.33. Double click here, Control Home, and you'll notice here now these are all in order of their cost code. So you can find all the items that have got the same cost code completely in order, one after the other. Go back to the original order again. So just remember that those coloured headings all have a secondary index on, and this is this is exactly the same on each form throughout the Builder Cost program. Each of the IDs here need to be unique. They cannot be duplicated. In fact, the system won't allow you to duplicate them. You'll get an error message. So you'll see this particular one here. If I copy that, if I come over here and say add, and I put that code in, and then I say add the new code, it'll say stop, that it's already in use, try another code. So it'll force me to use a different code. So feel satisfied that you can't make a mistake in that regard. Now I've used what I call a pseudo numerical order here, where I've padded everything. Incidentally, the maximum number of characters for the ID is 7. So I've put 6 zeros and then 5 zeros, 20, so I could fit between 5 and 20, 15 more ones in there. So you'll see that this pseudo numerical order system is the way I've done it. You can do it whatever which way you want. You can create your own ID structure. So you might say FR for frame 001, FR for frame 002, and so forth. I found this method for my purposes to be the most easily followed. And the IDs don't have to be in the order because of the ability to filter. So if I wanted to have a look at, you'll notice here that I've got timber 1A is the first one, followed by reinforcing. If I only want to see the timber 1A entries, I just double left click on this field here, and now it filters down to just the 33 items that fit that criteria. If I want to look at all the F14, I just double click here, and now I see 26 items that follow that criteria. So double clicking on fields also is another way of filtering your data. With this PlanSwift type, PlanSwift uses segments, linear measurements, counts, areas for their calculation. So in fact, if the unit of measurement here is meter, then I've told it to be a segment. If you don't want it to be a segment, while you're on this field, you can right click on it and say I want it to be a linear measurement instead, which is a continuous measurement. I prefer to do mine in segments, so I can change that back by right clicking on the field and then double left clicking on segment. These are automatically generated by Buildercost from its unit of measurement. So if we come to something that was a square meter rate, I'll just reset that, and I'll find one here. Well, number, for example, will always be a count because it's how many of them with number. If I go to, I'll just find one here, meter squared, and we'll say OK, and you'll see it's an area. Now, if you want to change the cost codes of any item, all of these fields are exactly the same here. Just right click and it opens up the cost code table, and you can choose whatever cost code you want to change that particular item to. Over here, if you want to change the group, right click on the groups. You can add new groups here. You can just double click to choose it. At the moment it's on landscaping. If I want it to be part of metalworker, it now becomes metalworker and it falls into that group. If I want to go back to landscaping again, I can do that. Just double click on landscaping. Similarly with the category, right click. Now I'll give you an understanding of what categories are. If I go to and incidentally, while I'm on this field, you see this alpha bar here. If I say I want to have a look at reinforcing, I click on R and then double click on reinforcing, and it puts all the reinforcing together. And then whilst I'm in reinforcing, if I then double click on this heading for category, it'll put them in order. So there's all the slab information. We'll go up a page, foundations, cost. So the first item under reinforcing in category is cost, is where you put a lump sum in, then followed by the foundation. And if we come down one page at a time, you'll see it goes foundation, quoted, slab, and there you are. We're at the last record. So then if I only want to look at all the slab things, including reinforcing items and other groups, I double click on here, and then I see all the information that's in here to do with slabs. Very quick in sorting your data out. So the ID is less important than using good understandable group IDs and categories and stages. Also want to look at all the completion stuff, double click here. 426 items fall into that. If I want to find bricks, double click here. So it's pretty simple to navigate. So I think I'll call an end to this video, and we'll do other videos later on about the price list as well. You'll notice that when it filters on here and I only see 8 records, and we know there's 1,000 in here or more, we click on this reset the filter button and it'll go back and reset the filter for you. That's the end of this video.